guys, I wanted to give you a little bit of help on one of your first major writing assignments, which is your personal narrative. Now, before you groan, because I know when you think essays, sometimes that gets people a little nervous. This is actually a pretty fun assignment because it gives you a chance to tell your own story and you have some options. So, again, if you don't like one prompt, you can do the other, but it really helps us get to know you. It helps us review story format. And most importantly, we are kind of practicing those writing skills. We're making sure that we know the different elements of the essay. Without having to do research right now or write an argumentative essay, we figured this would be a more fun way to do that. So, you are going to be writing a personal narrative. So that's a personal story about one of these prompts. You can pick a memorable experience. So that's something that really sticks out in your memory. Think about that experience, try to picture it and explain why this memory is so important to you. Maybe that's a vacation. Maybe that's time. When I think of it, I think of time with a loved one. I just saw my grandfather in the hospital after breaking a hip, and he gave me some really important life advice. And he's doing so much better, too. And so that helps me learn something really important about life. Maybe it's maybe when you adopted your puppy. Okay, different things like that. Or you can do overcoming a challenge. We all have challenges and obstacles in life. Think about a time that you faced a challenge. Again, you're writing a story about that. What was it that you had to overcome and why? So again, you've got one or two options. You can do the memorable experience, or you could do overcoming a challenge. Now, again, as you're doing this, you're thinking about the elements of a story. So you're thinking of a plot graph. So let me try to draw something real quick. So again, you're thinking of that little, I know you guys have seen this so many times. And I don't know, I'll see how good you can see my drawing, but when you are thinking of this, and you can't see it the greatest, but you're thinking about all the different elements of plot, okay? That exposition, that rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. You are telling your own personal story. As you do this, kind of think about that what counts box, what is important to include here. So for instance, for us in our class, we're always going to do pre-writing. Make sure to include that pre-writing. You're going to make sure that you have a clear, strong thesis. Yes, this is a personal story. However, what is your thesis? So either that's going to include wording about the challenge and kind of the main idea that you kind of overcame this challenge, or it's going to include, your memorable experience. How is this memory so important to you in your life? You should also then have your plot development. Think about that plot graph, sensory details, so that your reader can imagine themselves in the situation, and editing your work for conventions. Now, the first part about getting this essay done is just starting with that initial pre-writing. If you can get this pre-writing done, that'll keep your thoughts more organized. Again, that's kind of more of the hard work. You get your pre-writing done, it's going to be smooth sailing for the rest of your essay. But it is key that you get your pre-writing done, because then that makes sure that you have all the important elements of the essay that you need to have. Okay, as you fill this out, you can, as long as it's your own work, you can copy and paste it over to even include information that you need for your actual essay, which you'd be writing below. So let's kind of take a little bit closer of a look at your pre-writing to see what we need to include. So if you notice here, the first thing that you're going to have is your introduction. And your introduction is going to include, and this should be review, your hook, which is to draw your reader's interest. So think of a hook. The bridge, so that's your background, who, what, when, where, why, how. Your thesis, that again, your thesis is the most important thing. That is your main idea, and your general subtopics. And really, that's just the building block to your story. Okay, once you fill this paragraph out, that's the outline for the whole rest of your story as you continue to tell the audience what is going on. Now, what I think might help too is if we take a little look at, you'll just be filling this out below here as you go, but let's actually take a little bit closer of a look at the model. And again, you can use the model to help you, but you should have your own example. But I definitely think once we look at the model, and I'll give you a little bit more of an idea of what you need to include. Instance, this person is writing, they chose to write a story about a challenge they overcame. So first thing you should see is a hook. So that's making your audience interested in your personal story. So this is their hook. They used a question. Have you ever had your life completely change with just one conversation? Ooh, okay. So they're already drawing your attention. And then there needs to be a bridge, okay? With just a few simple sentences, you found yourself coming to grips with adjusting your mindset and reconfiguring your perception. And then here's our bridge that's connecting the 5 W's. When I was 16, my reality completely changed. My mother told me 3 small words an only child never expects to hear. I'm pregnant. So if you look right here, we have a hook, so it's a question, and then we have our bridge giving background. You know, this person was like 16. The reality is completely changing. So that might be something they're struggling with here. And then their reality is completely changing because their mom is pregnant. Okay, so we're already kind of setting up to what the whole story will be about. Now, the most important part, as we see in this essay, is the thesis. So this person is talking right here. So again, this is a challenge. So you should see the prompt words in the thesis. So if you're writing about a memory, you should have something with memory here in your thesis. If it's a challenge, you should specifically have something mentioning challenge in your subtopics. So this person said, instantly with this announcement, I knew life would never be the same. My family unit was forever changed, and I had to struggle with the obstacle of processing what life would be like as a big sister. So notice they said obstacle, struggling with processing being a big sister. You know, when you're 16, you've been an only child for so long, and then all of a sudden you hear you're going to be a big sister or a big sibling. That might be something to kind of work with here. That's going to kind of change life as you know it. So now the only thing we know their challenge is struggling to be a big sister. Now let's see what their subtopics are. What is the rest of the essay going to be about? So however, throughout my mom's announcement, pregnancy, and delivery bonding time with my new sibling, I overcame this challenge and learned an important lesson about accepting change and appreciating life. So again, this person, we can tell from their intro, they have their thesis. They're talking about a challenge. And as they talk about their challenge and their mom being pregnant, being a big sister, their body paragraphs will be about their mom's announcement, being pregnant, the pregnancy itself, and delivering and bonding, spending time with his new sibling. So again, your introduction, if you can get this part of your outline done, is the heart of your paper, because then you will continue telling your wonderful story with all the elements of plot based on what you had just put in your introduction. So again, think about kind of what your theme was, what you learned from this, how you overcame it, and then you will kind of just split up your story as you go. And the great thing about this pre-writing is all you have to do once you do this to complete your actual essay when you're ready is just copying and pasting this over and getting rid of the outline and just editing. So when you put your work in with your pre-writing, the rest of it actually isn't going to be too difficult. Okay, so let's take a look here. As you continue, you'll write about your body paragraphs. And again, this is doing all the elements of plot. So you're still going to write about your thesis. And according to this, it says mom's announcement. So as you talk, that first body paragraph will be giving us exposition information and their mom's announcement. So when you talk about your story, it's the backgrounds. Maybe it's going on vacation. You're just going to let us know about kind of how you initially went on vacation, who's involved. So the outline says you need to have a topic sentence, you'll need to give characters, and then you need to give setting and kind of conflict information. So when you're thinking of that plot graph, this is like step 1 of the story outline. What is just then the basic information I need to know? Okay. So here we have this person having a topic sentence with a nice transition. First, my life was internally transformed with my mom's announcement. So we know the rest of this body paragraph will be letting us know what that person's life was like, kind of leading up to the announcement. So we should see information about the characters. Okay, so you'll be explaining a little bit of information about yourself, whoever else is in your story. So I'd assume here it's the mother. You'll see a little bit of information about the setting, okay? And a little bit about the conflict, anything that the audience may need to know. So maybe if you're talking about a challenge you had moving, you can talk about just some things that you've struggled with in the past and how moving has kind of made it even more difficult for you. Okay, and so that's kind of your first body paragraph. Now, again, the model's a little long. Yours does not have to be that long, but you want to make sure you have all the basic information that you need to have to tell that exposition of the story. Then your second body paragraph is a rising action. So if we're thinking about our elements of plot, I'm going to do a lovely picture on this piece of notebook paper. I hope you can see it. Okay, one is our rising action. And then if we think about, one's our exposition. Our rising action's that whole middle of the story here. So hold on. I'm trying to make my lovely picture. Bear with me if you don't mind. So our rising action, I don't know if you can see this or not. Kind of. Okay. So our rising action is right here. It's the majority of the story. And so it's everything we need to know until you get to that turning point or the climax. So if you look back at this person's introduction, they already said, and that's what you'll do too when you bring up your subtopics, they already said that this paragraph is going to be more about their mom's pregnancy. So we already have the background information, but how are you dealing with a pregnancy and knowing that your life is going to completely change? So this will be the development of conflict and mostly the major plot events. Now, when you're writing a story, you might be thinking, oh gosh, how do I know what is my climax, which is going to be in the next body paragraph, kind of the end of the story, climax, falling action, resolution, and how do I know what's the rising action? What I would like to say is think about when you learn that lesson. So for instance, when this person overcame that challenge, what was the turning point? That's going to be your climax. So everything leading up to this is rising action. Okay, so you may want to think, for instance, like, how did you know vacation? That was like one of your best memories. You really realized you're having a good time. That could be your climax, and kind of go into your theme. And before that is all of your middle. And obviously you had your basic information. So for instance, this body paragraph is all about dealing with the mom's pregnancy, knowing that life would be different after each reaction, kind of just dealing with it. And it actually leads all the way up until delivery, which would make sense because the turning point, if you're struggling with being maybe a sibling, is probably actually meeting your new sibling. So let's see if that is the case. So here, a week later, and this is your body paragraph 3, another unexpected announcement. My mother's first, another unexpected announcement was we know their baby sister would be arriving. So we know this is the climax because it says when my mom stoically relayed the message to me about her early delivery, I was shocked by my reaction. For the first time related to the pregnancy, tears welled up in this time. But this time, I found myself shocked at the reason behind my tears. I did not care about myself anymore. I was shaking. I found myself caring about my mother and my sister. I did not care if having a sister meant more work for me and less time with my mom. I just wanted them to both be healthy and with me. And in all honesty, I did start to think and adjust to what life would be like with her. And from then on out, I vowed that I'd do whatever I needed to do to be the best big sister if only my sister and mother would make it healthy. I then realized I truly did love them both and I would appreciate life and its changes. And I'm happy to say I got my wish. So doesn't that sound like a turning point? This person is now finally dealing with the fact that they're going to be a big sister and they're accepting this challenge. So when you know kind of you're overcoming that challenge, that's probably going to be your climax. That's your last body paragraph. Okay. And then you'll continue on with the falling action and resolution. So this one's the baby is a little premature, but everyone loved the baby. And then resolution, from the moment she held her, she was filled with so much love. They went home. I'm not going to read this whole thing in detail because you should be reading it in your own time, right? And then you want to make sure you include a theme. Okay. So again, when you're thinking about the outline of your essay, you have your intro with your hook, bridge, and thesis. You have your body paragraph 1, which is your exposition. You have body paragraph 2, which is all the middle, rising action, development of that conflict until you get to the turning point, which is body paragraph 3, the end, climax, falling action, resolution. And please do not forget your theme. What did you learn about life? So if you're going on vacation, maybe you learned, and it was such a great memory for you, that life is just beautiful. Here we're overcoming a challenge. Okay, so the theme is, or the universal message about life is, this whole experience showed me that life can change within moments, but with change comes beauty and wonderful unexpected blessings. I have more room for love, and I'm so grateful for my mom and my little sister's life. So the message about life, because again, this is a story. It's going through all elements of plot. You're just wanting to make sure you keep it organized. Okay, and again, go through this and kind of read the sample because that's going to help you structure your own story. Now, the last part of the essay, which is probably the easiest, is your conclusion. And I was always so relieved when I was in grad school and getting my undergraduate degree when I came to my conclusion, because guess what? Most of this work was already done. You are going to include a transition word. So like all in all, in conclusion, finally, I apologize. My dogs are barking. You're going to include a transition word. You are going to repeat your thesis. So the news that I became a sister changed my life. You are going to connect to your story elements and themes. As I experienced my mom's announcement, pregnancy and delivery, I struggled with transitions, but slowly but surely, I adjusted my mindset to accept that life, the fact that everything will be transformed, but I'm thankful. Life is better than I imagined. So basically, when you're doing your conclusion, go back up to your intro and you'll see that you're just slightly restating here. Okay, you're going to wrap up your paper restating that thesis, restating those 3 subtopics. So this paper really talked about the challenge with the mom's pregnancy, announcement, pregnancy, and delivery. Okay, maybe your vacation has 3 main points to it. And then you want a general conclusion sentence. Usually it can still kind of go within your theme. Sometimes change can bring life's greatest blessings. Okay, maybe you'll talk about the beauty of nature on your vacation. It's something that you really learned. But again, your conclusion is just wrapping up everything that you said in your essay. So again, this pre-writing might seem like a lot, but if you get your pre-writing done, really it's just copying and pasting it to another document. So let me show you below here. All I had to do was copy and paste and just, because it's my own work, and edit it, and it came into and went into separate paragraphs. Okay, so once you get your outline done, really it's smooth sailing when it comes to actually doing your essay. Okay, so please take a moment, use this model to help you. Please let us know if you have any questions. This really gives us an opportunity to get to know you better. It's a wonderful first major grade and the grade book for you this 9 weeks. And again, email us with any questions. We are here for you, and I can't wait to read some of your personal narratives. Bye-bye, guys.